So, it's been a bit longer than planned since my last video. Whoops. Admittedly, I had planned on uploading this video later in the month and doing a Honkai Star Rail challenge beforehand, but I got sick. And then my first episode got a lot more popular than I anticipated, and I got an obscene amount of comments asking for part 2. It wasn't even just those comments though, I also got a bunch of comments saying, "You're so funny, please don't die," which felt vaguely ominous alongside the part 2 requests. So, here we are. We left off last time at AR 18, having just completed Mondstadt. In order to get to Liyue, I had to increase my adventurer's rank. What does that mean? It's time to go find the Dark Knight. No, not that one.
All we need to do is find a wealthy, vision-wielding vigilante who's not one of the knights. Nope, still no idea.
Are you just here for comedic effect? After some questionable interrogation methods with D-Luke.
Playing dead won't help you. That fire was nowhere near strong enough to... Oh, he seems to have passed out.
Fighting a wolf spirit with Razor and Amber, and begrudgingly going on a very strange date with Lisa. We make it to AR 23, and it's finally time to head to Liyue to begin the art conquest. Wow, this nation is so beautiful. Where are we again?
Liyue?
Liyue.
Ah, right.
Given that you just left your godless city...
Kicking him while he's down, I guess. I like how he says that we'd get lost if he gives us directions, so instead of just being like, yeah, so you go this way and then up the stairs, he just names a place and expects us to be like, oh yeah, totally know where that is, thanks. Well, this kind of puts a damper on our plans.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
After getting the sigil from Childe, it's time to go meet the Adepti. We light the forest on fire, and as a reward, Mooncarver tells us where to find the other Adepti. We're given the choice of which of the Adepti to visit first, with 2 of them being close by and 1 being across the map. So, of course, the reasonable choice is going and finding Best Boy, no matter the distance. The birds can wait.
It's for your own good. Leave. Now.
To preserve our dignity and win him over, we go ghost hunting, make Tevat's best salad, and end it all by ruining a perfectly good meal to tell Zhao his dad is dead. After definitely ruining his week, we leave Zhao and go find Mountain Shaper. Breaking the ember is pretty difficult as a polearm, so my solution was plunging. Now, I want you to guess how many embers I had to break to find him. Every single amber down the mountain. Do you know where he was? Down here, outside of the quest area.
I just hope he didn't get trapped in Amber too.
Don't worry, even if he did, I already broke every amber between here and the top of the mountain. We get lectured for ruining Mountain Shaper's security system. Maybe he should get a ring doorbell.
Rex Lapis. Assassinated?
And now it's time to go find Cloud Retainer.
How about we cook up some extra special dishes for the Adepti?
Man, I'm so glad we learned to master the art of battle and the elements of Tevat to play cooking mama for the Adepti. Cloud Retainer's domain requires 2 things. Pyro, which works out great for us, and at least 3 functioning brain cells. That was a bit harder to achieve. Also, I really need to know who saw this bird form and was like, you know what we should do? Give her a hot human form. I have questions. We return to Liyue, tell Childe some probably classified information, and complete Act 1, which means it's time to level up a bit to reach AR 25. Since I failed to do this in my previous video, let's discuss the pros and cons of Arlecchino. The most noticeable pro is that, well, she's obscenely powerful. One might say, OP.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Some people commented saying it wasn't even really a challenge to do a solo run with her, and to that I say, you're not wrong. However, the challenge isn't just beating Genshin with Arlecchino. The challenge is how poorly can I manage to play despite having one of the strongest characters to date and her signature weapon. You can decide that answer for yourselves. Not only is she a powerhouse DPS, but her burst provides self-healing, making her incredibly convenient to use in a solo run. Well, mostly. Additionally, behind Animo, Pyro is probably one of the top elements to have for a solo playthrough, since a lot of mechanisms in-game require it, and it's top-notch for a variety of elemental reactions. A personal favorite pro of hers is also the lack of conversation. Her idol is usually just sitting down or glitching, and she doesn't make a comment when you sprint. The comments from some characters can get kinda tiring, especially the sprinting ones.
Quit following me. Too slow. No time to lose.
So this is a welcome silence. Now for the cons. The first one is probably one I've dealt with the most, which is that having a Bond of Life active means you can't heal with food, so your ability to heal in battle relies entirely on the cooldown and energy recharge of your burst. If you can't get that up fast enough, well... Another con is something I brought up in my first video, which is the fact that if you have a Bond of Life active, all attacks are pyro damage. This causes issues with any enemies that are immune to pyro damage, like the Pyro Slimes and the Pyro Abyss Mages. Truthfully though, once you know about it, it's easy enough to avoid activating it, it's just really inconvenient when it comes to the Pyro Abyss mages and their shields. After running around and exploring Dragonspine, we hit AR-25 and it's time to return to Liyue. We enter Northland Bank, as one does, and start Act 2. We have dinner with Childe and Zhongli, and then go outside so Childe can be left alone to battle his toughest enemy to date, Chopsticks.
Organizing the rite of parting should prove to be an enlightening part of your travels.
You know what would be really enlightening? Finding my sister. We go find Shito
Try your luck betting on Jade?
to start spending Childe's money. We go back to Mondstadt to make some rock soup and ruin yet another meal. I'm starting to sense a pattern. You know, with the saying time is money, I can kind of understand why Zhongli would prefer just buying all of the jade outright versus walking all the way to Mondstadt to save a few mora.
You two must be his servants. Please refrain from any further attempts to contribute.
Everybody's a critic.
So this time we get to go around town looking for nice-smelling ladies to talk to? Paimon likes this job.
Now use your strong hand to stir it with a persistent rhythm. Keep going until the juices start to come out.
I'm very uncomfortable with the energy that we've created in the studio today.
After some questionable perfume making, we go find Zhongli, where we find out Rex Lapis liked MILFs. Or maybe he was one. Hard to say. Zhongli sends us back to the city to find the cleansing bell, and I'm starting to wonder why this couldn't have been done in one trip.
Do you think this old granny could also be an adeptus?
No, Paimon. I just think old grandma NPC number 6 has the totally normal ability to make an entire world inside of a teapot. After obtaining the cleansing bell, we go back to Liyue Harbor to spend more of Childe's money on kites.
He just doesn't consider poverty to be something that could ever happen to him.
You know what? That's a really valid life motto. After paying the bare minimum to Tic Tac and Toe so there's at least some of Childe's money left over for all of this work, we head to Boo Boo's pharmacy to hopefully find the last thing we need. Say what you will about Mondstadt being a godless nation, but at least they don't have zombies.
You almost make it sound like I'm some sort of bourgeois parasite whose only utility lies in providing quaint pieces of trivia on demand.
Your words, not mine. After collecting the conveniently placed spare parts, we fix the ballista, but not everyone is thrilled by this progression.
You're looking at the leader of the treasure hoarders, old man.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
After, well, someone gets taught a lesson, we realize this entire trip was for nothing.
We did something positive, right?
Yes, we positively wasted our time. Cocoa Goatless, we go back to Boo Boo's pharmacy to disappoint a child.
Coconut milk.
To be fair, considering we haven't seen a single coconut tree in our travels so far, I'd find a cocoa goat far more believable.
Cocoa goat. Cocoa goat. My sides hurt.
Well, at least I made one child's day. Zhongli invites us to dinner, and truly, who are we to say no to free food? Well, as long as he remembers his Mora this time. Ganyu interrupts our meal to invite us to the Jade Chamber on behalf of Ningguang, and with that, Act 2 is completed. I ended up spending literal hours strolling and unlocking waypoints, which was fun for me while I was playing, but significantly less fun when I had to edit. Despite it causing me problems up until this point, I had a singular good thought and activated Mask of the Red Death State so I could more easily solve this puzzle. I then proceeded to struggle with solving the puzzle, but, well, at least I had one good thought. After some more time wasting, map opening, we head back to Mondstadt for the Ascension domain. Why did we early players have to suffer in this Ascension by battling a boss enemy, just for new players to get enemies you can basically find on floor 1 of the Abyss? I demand justice for the Electric Cube. Anyways, after a not challenge, we complete the domain and can finally level up. Admittedly, it probably would have been more satisfying if I waited until I had enough XP to insta-level to 28, but oh well. After a few days of daily commissions and some domain runs, we finally reach AR-28, which means it's time for Act 3. Arlecchino, being so smart and so beautiful and talented, is able to spin her scythe fast enough to create a wind current.
Helicopter, helicopter!
We go back down to the ballista to shoot Paimon up to the Jade Chamber, but we're stopped by some Millilith who probably wouldn't have attacked if Paimon kept her mouth shut.
Stop! What's all this about?
You know, I've been debating doing a Keqing only run since she was actually the reason I started playing Genshin Impact. I saw someone streaming Genshin, and as soon as I saw Keqing, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty, I need to play this game. And now, here I am, an unspeakable amount of money spent, and, well, C6 Keqing that I don't even use anymore. Keqing shares how to get to the Jade Chamber, and Paimon decides she has the perfect gift for Ningguang, sugar frosted slime. Honestly, if someone gave me this, I would probably think they were trying to poison me. Or they just hated me. While trying to find ingredients for Paimon's gift, we come across something that we should definitely mind our business about. So, do we mind our business? No, of course not.
I was nothing.
You didn't do anything. Paimon's entire goal of this trip was to get riches, and we have a guy willing to give us riches right here. So what does she ask for? A box. Okay. We head back to Liyue Harbor to get our box, and now it's finally time to go see Ningguang.
Minions! Tonight, we steal the moon!
Or, well, by the moon. We arrive at the Jade Chamber and quickly find out that Ningguang has been keeping an eye on us since we got to Liyue. Which, if that's the case, why did we get accused of killing Rex Lapis?
Beneath the spears lie those cast down by Rex Lapis in those days, gods that failed to seize the title of Archon.
Wow, I sure hope that doesn't become a problem later. We get called poor in literally every language imaginable once we enter the Jade Chamber, and we have the biggest plot twist of all. Paimon refers to herself in the first person.
That's right. Speaking of ends, could I say one other thing?
So far, our rewards from Liyue have consisted of some loose change, a box for someone else, and a piece of paper. Oh, and some dinner that got interrupted. I'm kind of starting to understand why our twin went off the deep end. At Ningguang's very subtle encouragement, we leave the Jade Chamber and set off to find the Fatui.
Talismans like that were once used in the Archon War to channel divine powers. Maybe the Fatui are copying the Sigil of Permission in hopes of achieving a similar effect.
This feels like a very casual tone for a very insane revelation. We get back on target and go find Zhongli to give him a TLDR of our adventures at the Jade Chamber.
What's the most important thing to her then?
Why,
Money!
of course.
It's time to pick some flowers, but first we have to sing to them. As one does. Now, before, I absolutely would have taken this chance to make a joke with a song I definitely don't have the rights to, but I'm monetized now. I have to be more careful about what I include in my videos. After all.
What happened?
Huh. Guess they didn't like our singing. Our questionable singing gets the attention of Ganyu, who decides to come over and do some lore dropping. I love how Ganyu is just telling us all about the Archons, and Zhongli is just here like, yeah, that sounds about right. Ganyu gives us a happy glazed lily, and now it's time to head back to Liyue Harbor to finish preparations for the rite of parting. Or not. With the newly erupted conflict beginning in Liyue Harbor, we head off to the Golden House. That's right, it's finally time for the moment everyone's been waiting for. The final showdown. Harbinger versus Harbinger.
Round 1. Fight! Round 2. Fight!
That just means I can go all out. Brace yourself to do against the might of a Harbinger.
Round 3. Fight! Simply move faster? Or did you leak the information regarding the Golden House to me on purpose? No matter. Hell's is over. Finish him. Don't make me take it from you.
Yeah, it wasn't a challenge. After humbling Childe, he decides the best solution is to revive an ancient god. Seems a little bit overkill, but to each their own, I guess. Now at the Jade Chamber, it's time for the true culmination of the Liyue Archon quest. I cannot believe that Ningguang is only a 4-star. With the addition of Vaporize, this was another easy victory. Well, mostly. After one of my favorite cutscenes in the main story quest, we have reached the resolution of Liyue. The Adepti decide not to destroy the harbor, how kind of them, and we head to find Zhongli at Northland Bank. 2 Harbingers and a god in one place. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I guess you could say 3 Harbingers.
And our last battle at the Golden House was almost more than you could handle.
No, it really wasn't.
So you're the Lord of Chill?
Wow, never saw that one coming. I think the real problem here is finding out that we spent all of this time preparing for the funeral of the guy standing next to us alive and well.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark!
Yeah, I can't really blame Childe for being bitter about all of this either. After Zhongli tells us about Inazuma, Act 3 is complete. With the completion of the Liyue Archon quest, there's one more thing we must do before we can go to Inazuma, the Dainsliff quest. Starting with this video, each new addition to the series will be the Archon quest plus the Dainsliff chapters. We return to Mondstadt, and Catherine informs us of a mysterious blonde traveler, just not the one we wanted to find. After going and asking around for more information, we're directed to Angel Share. We're told to wait literally all day until the mysterious traveler finally shows up and ignores us. Well, until we tell him we're looking for a relative. Suddenly that piqued his interest. Go figure, the first person we've met so far who actually wants to help. Mark my words, if Dainsleif ever becomes a playable character, I will absolutely do an only Dainsleif account. In hindsight, this was a very story-convenient way for Genshin to summarize the previous events of the game up until this point. We answered Dainsleif's 3 questions, and despite the fact that we were the ones commissioning him, he decides that we're gonna go check out the Temple of the Falcon. Oh, Crier recommended. I'm sure that'll go fine for me. After easily taking on some hilly churls, we head to the next room and find my favorite enemy, the Pyro Abyss Mage. Great. This time though, we can use the rain to break the shield, and with that, it really wasn't much of a challenge. If the last 2 times we've gone through this domain is anything to go off of, we only have 1 more section. But that's usually where the treasure is, so I'm not worried. Please hold while I go cry for a bit.
One hour later. Two hours later. Three hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Overruled. Witness my rise.
It is a morass of inconceivable madness.
Okay, I know it's a real word and all, but morass just sounds like a crude nickname you'd give to Zhongli. Get it? Because Morax.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyways, our next stop with Dainsleif is Wolvendom, and considering how often we go to Wolvendom, especially because there's, a weekly boss here, I don't understand why there isn't a waypoint closer, but again, boomer complaints. We find Dane and then go on a scavenger hunt to find more Abyss clues. Why is it always Pyro Abyss Mages? We beat up the Abyss Mages and go back to Dainsleif again, who now wants to go to Stormterror's lair. I'm starting to think he's just picking random places to go.
Naughty, naughty!
This area is literally giving me war flashbacks.
We can reach the top of that cliff from over there. Let's go.
Ah yes, a conveniently placed wind current. My favorite type. We head to the top of the cliff to catch up with Dane, who apparently teleported here. When are we gonna get access to this area? That's what I wanna know.
Your journey has only just begun, has it not? At least you now know that she is still on this world. At this time, the most important thing is the journey to find her itself.
The sun clearing right now, truly the weather has been a paid actor throughout my challenges. Dane leaves us with wise words and a promise to meet again, and the Dainsleif quest is complete. Now it's time to head back to Liyue to begin one last quest before we can hit AR30 and start Inazuma. We run into Ganyu, who, along with Lan, are discussing the treasure hoarders, who are now targeting the Abyss Order. I guess that whole "the enemy of my enemy is my friend" saying doesn't apply in this situation. We accept Ganyu's commission to investigate what the treasure hoarders are, investigating. And so starts the first act of the Traveler's quest line. We will be reunited. We head to the ruins, and taking note of the fact that I got a bunch of comments on previous videos telling me about the chests I missed, I went looking for any and all chests, just to not find any. A note for later, I did in fact miss the chests that are here. Pretty on brand, I'd say. I haven't played this quest in years, since it first came out actually, and I genuinely forgot how creepy this whole area is. I was just trying to get good shots for the video, and at this point, I hadn't noticed it was draining my HP rapidly. Oops. And now we get to deal with everyone's favorite challenge. Now, I want everyone to guess how many tries this took. If you guessed 4 tries, you'd be wrong. It took 5 tries. After that, we think we're in the clear. Just kidding, I guess.
Careful! Please don't get cocky! What a tough battle!
Tough for who, exactly? We leave the ruins and find Dainsleif waiting outside. We give him a TLDR and head to battle some Abyss Mages. At least there's no Pyro Abyss Mages this time. It feels like every time we've traveled with Dane, we end up just running around with no real objective. I mean, not that I mind aimlessly beating up Abyss Mages, but, We head to our next destination, which is conveniently located not near a teleport waypoint. I guess I should have seen that coming.
This is where you fall.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Alright, well, let's go suffer then. Oh, or not?
They wandered aimlessly over the centuries, gradually spreading to every corner of Tevat. Once you understand more, those details won't mean much to you.
Said by the one who's also been wandering aimlessly for 500 years. Well, at least it gave enough time for the Bond of Life to run out. After saving the worst for last and spending an ungodly amount of time trying to break the shield, we can finally move on. Hopefully this is the last Pyro-Abyss mage we see for a while.
Attaching Osial's limbs to construct a mechanized god.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time someone in this game tried to make a mechanized god, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Now it's time to head back to Mondstadt and go ask around about the inverted statue. But not before Dane makes excuses to not enter the church.
Hey, how y'all? Get your fucking dog, bitch! It don't bite. Yes, it do!
After Barbara is done telling us about the missing statue of the Seven and the Tyrant's final fury, probably unrelated, Rosaria comes to share that the Abyss Order is causing problems in Wolvendom. I guess our investigation is taking another detour. We let Dainsleif know and then head into the chaos.
The Abyss!
There has to be a more efficient method to defeating these mages. Ooh, you so badly want to come over here and fight me.
Besides, you're the one people like. I'm less likable.
Well, we can't all be extroverts, I guess. After Dane leaves, Jean comes and finds us and gives us a rundown of the situation. That looks like a problem. The Abyss Herald, again, is not really much of a challenge. As a reward for helping, we're given a lead to find the first field tiller, and we go find Dainsleif to plan our next steps. We head to Storm Terror's lair, again, but this time with actual awareness of what we're looking for. Dane uses his whatever that was, power, and finds the eye, and now comes deciding what to do with it. Seems a little big for our inventory.
Prototype? Oh, Paimon doesn't know that word.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Destroy it? That's a statue of the Seven!
I don't know, I think Venti will forgive us. It would probably be more of an issue if the missing statue suddenly reappeared versus just poofing from existence. It's time for the final showdown, so we head back to Liyue and enter the ruins again. Great.
Gee, surely we must be some of the bravest adventurers in all of Tevat! That or the stupidest?
Probably both. You know, I think I'd rather fight 3 Abyss Heralds at once than keep dealing with these bubbles.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Time to silence you!
Wow, it would be so cool if my energy could recharge faster. After being semi-certain I was done for, I managed to pull away with the victory. Barely. And if I speak.
Princess.
After being left with some answers, but mostly a lot of questions, and a forced summary of the events with Paimon no matter what option we choose, we have reached the end of the We Will Be Reunited quest, marking the conclusion of the Liyue interlude. This also marks the end of the video. Sorry it took me so long to get it out. I've had a bit of a chaotic couple of weeks, and I've been trying to work on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I'm also hoping to get better with editing speed so I can get videos out a little bit faster. In terms of future content, keep an eye on my community tab, as well as my other social medias in the description box, for updates and some sneak previews. Thank you all so much for the support I've received on this channel. I really can't come up with words to explain how happy and just overall overwhelmed it makes me. I will do my best to continue bringing quality videos to you all. I primarily plan to continue doing solo runs with limited 5-star characters, but will also be eventually branching out to do more games too. If you have any characters you want to see me play with, or other challenges you'd like to see me do, let me know in the comments down below. Until next time!